Hi everyone, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Giant Tail. In an extremely rare event, a gigantic dinosaur tail was discovered in Mexico in 2013. The tail itself was insanely large, measuring over 15 feet long. It belonged to a species of dinosaur that lived 72 million years ago, in what scientists call the Late Cretaceous period. The animal was a hadrosaur, a kind of herbivore that grew to enormous proportions. It was a type of duck-billed dinosaur, and it was more than twice as long as its tail, reaching almost 40 feet. During the age of the dinosaurs, Mexico was a hub for plant-eating animals, specifically in the Santonian-Campanian boundary in northeastern Coahuila, Mexico. A lot of herbivore fossils have been found here. According to a statement from the Mexican National Institute for Anthropology and History, this is the first intact dinosaur tail of this size to be discovered in Mexico, and only one of a handful that have been found around the world. It's complete with 50 perfectly assembled vertebrae, something that's extremely rare to find in a fossil. Ángel Ramírez Velasco from the National Autonomous University of Mexico said in a statement that aside from providing a valuable addition to the world's limited collection of intact dinosaur fossils, the team hopes their findings will help explain the mechanics of how hadrosaur tails moved. Number 9. The Monster T-Rex. The Tyrannosaurus rex is arguably the most famous dinosaur ever. But in a shocking new discovery that was made in 2022, scientists have found new evidence that the legendary T-Rex may have been 70% larger than anyone had ever imagined. According to experts, 65 million years ago, the average T-Rex weighed between 9,000 and 15,000 pounds. The largest of these dinosaurs on record weighed even more, at an estimated 19,555 pounds. The new T-Rex fossil has been named Scotty, and he lived well into his 30s. Scotty was found in Canada in 1991, when researchers uncovered about 65% of his skeleton. Finding such a complete skeleton is almost unheard of in the paleontology world, so this was a big deal. There have only been 32 adult fossils found so far, meaning we have very limited data, even though the T-Rex is so famous. Scientists can get a pretty good understanding of the creature, but without more specimens, it's impossible to be completely sure. For this reason, scientists have only been able to estimate the true size and behaviors of the T-Rex. But let's get back to the latest discovery. A research team from the Canadian Museum of Nature created models to demonstrate the growth curve of the Tyrannosaurus as it aged. When they began putting these models together, they focused on Scotty's skeleton. Through a lot of complex computer programs and simulations, they learned that the growth curve put Scotty's true weight at around 40,000 pounds, 70% higher than previous estimates. This is still just an educated guess, but if correct, it would mean the Tyrannosaurus was significantly larger than anyone thought. Number 8. Turtle egg embryo. A giant turtle lived in central China 90 million years ago. This turtle grew to be as big as an average person, and the eggs it laid were the size of tennis balls. Each egg had an extremely thick shell, and all of them hatched except for one. For millions of years, that unhatched egg remained undisturbed. Over time, it fossilized, preserving the tiny bones of the embryonic turtle inside of it. It was finally seen by human eyes in 2018 when a farmer stumbled across the egg. The farmer donated it to a university, and scientists did a full analysis of the egg. This marked the first time in history that scientists were able to identify a species of turtle from the dinosaur age based on an embryo. The species of turtle is called Euchelis nanyangensis, and it was wiped off the face of the planet when the asteroid hit 66 million years ago. This particular egg likely survived because it was buried in an underground nest, kept in moist soil until it finally fossilized. Associate Professor of Paleobiology Darla Zelenitsky told Live Science that she believes it was the underground nesting strategy that led to the turtle's demise. It was a good strategy while the dinosaurs were alive, but it wasn't so great in the aftermath of the mass extinction event, which significantly cooled the climate. Researchers from the University of Calgary say the turtle couldn't adapt to the environmental changes following the impact of the asteroid, which ultimately led to the species' extinction. Nobody knows exactly how big the turtle was. We know the egg was only slightly smaller than the egg of a Galapagos tortoise, but the eggshell was 4 times thicker than that of its modern ancestor. Based on their research, experts now believe that the turtle that laid the egg likely had a 5.3-foot-long carapace. If this measurement is correct, that would make the turtle as long as some humans are tall. Number 7. Australia's Loch Ness Monster. A fossil of what might be the most complete plesiosaur skeleton ever discovered was found in Australia in 2012. The fossil is missing its head, but everything else is mostly intact, including the neck vertebrae, pelvic girdle, and shoulder. Paleontologist Dick Suter stumbled upon the fossil completely by accident when he tripped over it. After the discovery, the amazing fossil was put into storage and analyzed by scientists. It wouldn't be for nearly a decade before the skeleton was finally put on display at the Boulia Stonehouse Museum. But what exactly did this dinosaur look like? The plesiosaur was a long-necked sea creature whose body grew to be nearly 40 feet long, and its neck measured almost 20 feet on its own. The plesiosaur looked almost identical to Nessie, the legendary Loch Ness Monster of Scotland. If you can picture Nessie in your mind, you can imagine exactly what a plesiosaur looked like. The plesiosaur found in Australia lived about 100 million years ago, at a time when most of the continent was covered by an inland sea. The plesiosaur was a monstrous predator that could fight pretty much anything in the ocean. However, it likely spent its time about 16 feet below the surface, using its long neck like a vacuum to suck up small crustaceans and other delicious delicacies. Even though the plesiosaur primarily lived in the ocean, it couldn't breathe underwater, and so it would have to raise its long neck above the surface to take a quick breath before feeding again. Number 6. The oldest belly button. Paleontologists have just found the oldest belly button ever, and it belonged to a non-avian dinosaur that lived 125 million years ago in China. The dinosaur was identified as a Psittacosaurus. It walked on 2 legs and had a mouth like a parrot beak. In 2022, scientists were looking at a fossil of one of these creatures when an umbilical scar was exposed under a beam of laser light. The scar is very faint, but it does show that the dinosaur once had a belly button. But how is this possible? And for that matter, why does any animal have a belly button? Mammals get their nutrients from a placenta, delivered straight through the umbilical cord. When that cord is removed, it creates a scar that we call a belly button. Birds and reptiles also have belly buttons. They just aren't quite the same as ours. These animals, as well as dinosaurs, get their nourishment from the yolk sac that's connected to their abdomens by a system of blood vessels inside their eggs. But once the yolk sac has been completely absorbed into the newly developed body, it does leave a small scar on their stomach. This normally heals in a few days and is gone. But some reptiles, like alligators, keep their scars all the way into adulthood. And now for number 5. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Herbert Correa and Trisha Dash. Thanks so much for watching and supporting Origins Explained. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe and join the family. Number 5. The giant Komodo dragon. In the aftermath of a great extinction event that took place over 250 million years ago, a unique family of reptilian creatures evolved called Erythrosuchus. They were similar to Komodo dragons, but were dinosaurs that had disproportionately big heads. These creatures walked on 4 legs like crocodiles, and they spread across the world like a plague. Various species have been found all the way from South Africa to Russia. But why did their heads grow so large? This is a question scientists always struggled with. These creatures grew to be almost 16 feet long, but the heads of Erythrosuchids were unreasonably enormous. They were already huge apex predators, but for some reason, their noggins just kept growing. In November of 2019, paleontologist Richard Butler from the University of Birmingham led a group of scientists on a mission to learn more about the evolution of these creatures. They soon determined that the giant heads most likely developed as a way for Erythrosuchus to catch larger prey. In a world of huge dinosaurs, the bigger, the better. The creature likely started out as a small lizard. Then its head and teeth kept growing so that it had a better chance of catching and killing animals far larger than itself. Number 4. The thalattosaur. In May of 2011, scientists in Alaska identified a new species of thalattosaur, a marine reptile. According to researchers from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, this marine creature lived over 200 million years ago. The name of the new species is, I'm gonna try it, Guna cadit josiae, and it thrived in North America during the late Triassic period, a time when dinosaurs were only first starting to emerge. They grew over 12 feet long and preferred to live in equatorial oceans. The new species of thalattosaur might just be the strangest one ever found. Lead researcher Patrick Drunkenmiller described the dinosaur as specialized and weird because it was likely one of the original species of thalattosaur. This means it was one of the first types of these dinosaurs to evolve, somehow surviving even after newer and more effective species developed. The thalattosaur was an unusual creature. They looked a lot like lizards but were semi-aquatic, with long snouts that they used for catching and eating fish. But one of the most remarkable things about these animals is that they adapted to live on land, but then they went right back into the ocean and evolved into marine animals. Whatever they did, it worked, and they thrived for millions of years. Number 3. Ravenous carnivore. About 100 million years ago, a fearsome dinosaur that looked like a monstrous bird accidentally got swept into a lake in China. Apparently, the dinosaur couldn't swim, so it sank to the bottom and was gradually turned into a fossil. When paleontologists in China uncovered this marvelous specimen in 2022, they were shocked to find a mysterious blue layer in its abdomen. Further investigation revealed a totally new species from the dromesaurid dinosaur lineage. They also learned that the blue layer was the dinosaur's guts. Dromaeosaurid dinosaurs are what we call raptors. Species like the velociraptor and the microraptor all belong to this family of extinct bird-like reptiles. These creatures were small, and most of them were covered in feathers like vicious chickens. However, dromaeosaurids were ravenous carnivores. They roamed our planet from 167 million years ago up until the end of the Cretaceous period. Although plenty of raptor fossils have been found all over the globe, little is known about their guts. That's what made the discovery of the new species, named D. wangi, so exceptional. The preservation of the creature's soft gut tissue was a miracle for scientists. So far, researcher Andrea Cao and the team of paleontologists have learned that the creature's intestinal tract was very similar to other meat-eating dinosaurs. They were also able to see that the raptor had a flexible diet. It ate everything from small mammals to slimy amphibians. Interestingly, this proves that carnivorous dinosaurs shared similar internal physiology to many modern mammals that exist today. Number 2. The Lost World. One of the richest dinosaur bone deposits in the world is in the African country of Niger. Paleontologist Paul Sereno has made some groundbreaking discoveries. Amidst the sand dunes and intense heat of Niger's Sahara Desert, Paul has uncovered a number of dinosaur species, many of which were completely new to science at the time. He's identified the remains of a mysterious digging raptor, a reptilian armadillo, a 40-foot-long crocodile, predatory fish that could eat a person, and winged reptiles. What a lot of people don't realize is that hundreds of dinosaur fossils are hiding beneath the sand in the Sahara. You don't even need to dig to find them imprinted into the red rocks of the desert. One of Paul's most impressive discoveries from 2022 is a dinosaur called the Nigersaurus. This was a plant eater that lived 110 million years ago. It grew to be 30 feet long, and it lived at a time when the Sahara was a tropical jungle. The Nigersaurus also coexisted alongside super crocodiles, and yet it evolved to only eat plants. According to archaeologists, this creature had 500 replaceable teeth in its mouth, used for grinding and slicing plant matter. Number 1. Rare footprints. In October of 2022, an extremely rare group of dinosaur footprints were found in China's Fujian province in Longyan City. Paleontologists uncovered fossils which contain the imprints left over by both sauropod and theropod dinosaurs. Over 30 footprints from 6 different dino species were located in the same area, making it one of the rarest discoveries of footprints in history. Unfortunately, researchers don't have a whole lot of information on these footprints because the discovery was made so recently. All we know is that the dinosaurs walked across this particular stretch of land in the late Cretaceous period. This was shortly before the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. Paleontologists have uncovered a migration route where both plant eaters and carnivores once roamed. Something must have happened almost 100 million years ago, which caused all of their footprints to be perfectly preserved in the muck. Even more interesting is that there are both negative and positive footprint fossils. This means that some of the fossils are embedded in the rock and others are raised like Braille. Thanks for watching! What's your favorite dinosaur? Let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye!